Toddler temper tantrums can take more of a toll on parents than the child, so we're here to talk about some survival tips for parents to get you through those tantrums. Even though we think of tantrums as occurring randomly or unpredictably, there actually always is a trigger. Some common triggers to look for in your child would be when a child is getting hungry, when they're overtired, in times of making a big transition, like going to or coming home from school or daycare, or even making that transition at bedtime to sleep. Other children might be triggered by hearing the word no. Some interventions to think about that you might be able to put in place would include things like having snacks available for your child, making sure they have naps, helping smooth out transition time by developing a routine for certain transitions that might involve a little bit of a calming activity. And for the child who doesn't like to hear no, giving your child a couple of choices when appropriate, where either choice would be acceptable to you, can give a child that feeling of control that would help them in those situations. Sometimes you might be able to tell that your child is getting ready to crank up into a full-blown temper tantrum. Some things that you might want to look for in your child would be if your child is starting to become whiny, or if they're expressing anger, either just with their facial expression or their body language, or with some verbalization, might be words or even just sounds that they make when they're getting real frustrated. If you notice those and you're thinking in the back of your mind, uh-oh, here it comes, then you have a chance to step in and distract your child. Things that can help with distraction would be using humor, even getting a little silly with your child, singing a song or using music, engaging them in one of their favorite play activities, or giving them one of their favorite comfort toys. The next thing we have to consider is, what do we do when the temper tantrum is going? Any heightened emotional response from you will only fan the fire, and it will cause those behaviors to escalate, and the tantrum will be prolonged. In addition to staying calm, you want to disengage from the child when they're in the throes of their temper tantrum. We disengage physically by moving the child into their room or some other designated area in the house, or by ourselves just walking away and getting some physical separation from the child. We want to disengage verbally from the child, which means don't talk to, reason with, plead, or argue with your child when they're in the middle of a tantrum. Any attention that you're giving the child during a tantrum only reinforces that behavior. And you can't reason with a child when they're in that heightened emotional state. And then you also want to disengage emotionally. And we do that the best by remembering to stay calm. Finally, when the tantrum has passed, that's when you want to go to the child. Give them positive attention at that time. Give them hugs, comfort, soothing words. You are not reinforcing the tantrum behavior. You can also at that time start to give them some words to use to identify the feelings that might go along with the tantrum. For example, you might say to your child, "Oh, you sure were angry just then." And just by saying that each time there's a tantrum, you're beginning to teach them that there are words for these feelings. And over time, as they get older, they'll be able to use their words to tell you what's happening instead of having to act it out behaviorally and emotionally. And finally, when the tantrum is over, let it be over and move forward through the day with your child in a very positive way. I'm Dr. Kim Hoover. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope this information has been helpful. To learn more about services that might be helpful for you and your child, visit conehealth.com/children. Thank you.